Let me tell you about my favourite ever networker. It was at an event in London a few years ago. There were about 500 people in the room. And a group of us were standing in a circle talking. And he came up to us. And we were quite experienced networkers, so we made room for him to join our circle. And he came up to us, and he gave each of us one of his cards. Then he walked away. And we stopped what we were doing, and we just observed. We just watched with a mixture of amusement and horror. Mainly amusement as he worked the room this way. There were 2 people here. He gave them a card. He walked away. There were 3 people here. He gave them a card. He walked away. He kept just working around the room, giving out cards and walking away. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard the famous Tony Robbins quote, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And we've got to give our friend some credit because he realised at some point that this was not the way to network in a room full of 500 people, so he changed his behaviour. What he did instead was he went to the door where people were still coming in. And as they came in, if you think that's networking, think again. But as I said, I'm sure you realise that's not the way to do it. And hearing comments from the panel and the comments from Mel just now, you're beyond that point. But sadly, there's still people who don't get networking. They believe networking is about hunting. They think it's about finding that right person for you now. So you go to events where everyone is selling to everyone else in the room. And I don't know how many of you are in sales, but I think you'll all get the idea that there's not many worse places to sell than in a room full of people trying to sell to you. So you get the networking dance. You know it, you've done it. 2 eyes meet across a crowded room. They awkwardly approach each other. You introduce yourselves to each other, and then one asks the other person a question. It is the same question all over the world. Anyone know what it is? What do you do? Thank you. What do you do? It is the networking equivalent of do you come here often? Which I have also discovered is the same all over the world. But you're now in the networking dance where we exchange elevator pitches. We exchange business cards. We shake hands. We go our separate ways. And neither of us knows anything about the other because we've just been in broadcast mode. That's not networking. Now, I'm not here to dismiss the importance of networking events because they play an important role in helping us build and develop our networks. But what we have to understand is that networking events are not networking. They provide us that opportunity, but they are not networking. They are tools in the networking process. Networking is about the network of people you have, people who know, like, and trust you. People who want you to succeed, who are invested in you. I never understand why people spend so much effort trying to get strangers to support them, but never ask the people they've built relationships with over years and years and years. I've heard many top leaders dismiss networking. Alan Sugar's the most famous. Alan Sugar derides networking, but if you read his autobiography, he got his biggest break through his network because someone recommended him and his company for the Sky satellite contract because they couldn't fulfill it. But he'll deride networking because he has the wrong vision of what networking is. And I remember speaking at a women's event before the crash. Things changed around 2008. But in about 2007, I was at a Women in Technology event. And there was a panel. I did the bravest thing I've ever done in my life. I asked a question. 200 women in the room, 1 man. And I wasn't even in technology. And I asked about networking for women in a corporate environment because I was just selling my business that dealt with networking for small businesses, and I knew that I wanted to move to work with corporates. And one by one, every panel member shot me down. We don't do that. We don't have time after work to go for drinks. That's the man's game. It's manipulative. Within a year after the crash, attitudes had changed. And a lot of women started to realise that networking isn't about the old school tie. It doesn't have to be the old boys club. It's about relationships. And who's better at relationship building, men or women? Women. Who's better at leveraging relationships, men or women? Men. Men are too fast. Men are fast. But you find that with a lot of women, I found that, yes, build relationships. How are you? Can I help you? Can I support you? But when it comes for asking for what you need for the support, that's where men come in. And you can call it masculine and feminine traits if you want. But what has changed is that those relationships have come to the fore. LinkedIn has driven that a lot as well, as people have started to understand it. It's driven it to the fore, and people realise how important networking is. And if you want to be a leader, networks are key. Absolutely key. Networks to give you insight, networks to give you support, networks to give you introductions. They are absolutely key, and it's the relationships that you build that does it. So I always talk about the 3 reasons we network. We network to become better known, we network to become better equipped, we network to become better connected. Better known, better equipped, better connected. And I want to focus on just one of those today, and that's networking to become better known. You all know this saying. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay, you all know that saying? Let me tell you about my second favourite networker ever. I was speaking at an event, and just before I went on stage to give my talk, someone in the audience called me over to their table, said, Andy, come over here. So I went over to their table, and they pulled out their mobile phone. And they showed me their mobile phone. They said, you see this phone? I've got 2,000 contacts in there. That's good networking, isn't it? And I looked at the phone, and I looked at this person, and I said, if you phoned all of those 2,000 people, and they greeted you by your first name, and they were happy to give you their time, they were happy to help, yes, that's a good network. If while we're having this conversation, while you're at this event, if any of those 2,000 people are sat in front of the right person for you, if they recognise that, if they think about you, if they know what to say and they say it, that's a fantastic network. Otherwise, easier to carry around than yellow pages, isn't it? We live in a society that's obsessed by numbers, particularly when it comes to networks. How many business cards did you collect at that event last night? How many business cards did you give out? How many friends have you got on Facebook? How many followers have you got on Twitter? How many connections have you got on LinkedIn? We live in a world where you've got lions on LinkedIn. Does anyone know what a lion is? LinkedIn Open Networker. You ruined my joke by saying, yes, normally people don't know. And I go, it's a big scary animal, but I can't do that now. LinkedIn Open Networker. A LinkedIn Open Networker will connect with you whether they know you or not. They'll connect with you whether that you have anyone in common or not, whether you know you have anything in common or not. They're just looking to broaden their network so they've got greater reach. I think they're missing something. They've got the idea of the breadth of their network, but they're forgetting the depth of their relationships. But they're following that famous phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So let's go out and know more people. That's not the whole story. There are elements of it's not what you know, it's who you know. But far more important, when I look at my career, both when I was employed and running my own business, the jobs that I got, the speaking engagements I get invited to do, even though I teach referral strategies, most of my jobs come with organisations I may not know exist, with people I don't know about who have challenges I don't know about. But 2 people have been sat in a meeting, and one of them knows me. And when the other person is sharing their challenge, their need, what they're looking for, that person thinks of me, and they recommend me. It's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you. And what they know, what they say about you when you're not in the room. Now, for years, I've made myself really unpopular because I told people, audiences like this, that however good you are at your job, it won't get you promoted. Performance will not get you promoted. And people would sit there seething. They'd clench their fists. I'd lose them for the presentation. And then a couple of years ago, I was speaking for HSBC's Balance Network in Hong Kong, and someone shared a piece of research that just changed it for me, because the research said it all. The research is known as PI, and it's by a guy called Harvey Coleman. And Harvey Coleman looked at the different factors that went into promotion, and he identified 3. Performance, image, exposure. PI. Performance, image, exposure. Now, we all think that performance is going to be the biggest slice of the pie, don't we? If we're good at our job, we'll get the promotion we deserve. What percentage of those 3 of promotion did Harvey Coleman fined for performance? What do you think? 10%. 10%. I know you're not going to say 60 because you know I'm going to say it's the smallest slice of the pie. 10%. And if you want to rationalize that, think about it like this. Who knows your performance best? Your colleagues and your line manager. How much influence do they have in your promotion? Probably not that much. Their bosses need to know about you. Their bosses' bosses. Other people, if you're going across divisions. And you might have a promotion board, and if only one person on that promotion board knows about your performance, how influential is it going to be? Image was 30%. It's not just how good you are at your job, but what people know about what you're good at. Exposure, 60%. Not just being good at your job, not just people knowing that you're good at your job and what you're good at, but the right people and enough of the right people knowing what you're good at. That's what gets promotion, according to Harvey Coleman and according to me. So do enough people know about what you're good at? When you're not in that room, how many people recognize your name when the right opportunity comes up? What do people say about you when you're not in the room, and do you care? Do you take action? Are you proactive about it? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. What do you want to be known for? Who do you want to be known by? And I'm going to give you 5 minutes now in pairs to discuss that, because I'm betting you haven't done it before. What do you want to be known for? Who do you want to be known by? I'm going to give you 5 minutes on that. I'm sorry to do this. I hate to interrupt you. I know this is really unprofessional of me, but I hope you'll give me a little bit of leeway. I've taken up a new hobby, and I need to practice it. And this is the ideal sort of opportunity. So I'm training to become a psychic. And what I wanted to do, when I came into the room, I just tried to tap into the chakras and the energies within the room and just think, what would you say? And obviously, this was done in advance, so I can't sort of know what you've just said. Can you just tell me if I've got a future as a psychic? Did any of you say any of these things? I want people to say I'm professional. I want people to say I'm reliable. I want people to say I'm good at my job. Or similar adjectives. Am I in the right sort of ballpark? Did it look like Jenny's lists of things you're good at? How many of you would say, yeah, we shared adjectives? Okay? Okay, and how many of you, nothing like that? Nothing like that at all. What was the type of thing you said? Can I just ask quickly? As a good, authentic person. I would call that an adjective to describe yourself. Okay? So I would say, it's not one of those, but I said like that, or like that. Because I'm not really training to be a psychic. At least 50% more of most audiences will say these things or similar. Or similar. We describe ourselves. In sales, it's known as weeing all over the place. The classic sales presentation, you get a lovely PowerPoint with a picture as the office of the selling company, and it says, we do this, we do that, we specialize in, we're experts at, we employ so many people, we. And the poor prospect's thinking, what about me? What was it Esther said in her presentation? Love your audience a little bit more than you love yourself. Love your customer more than you love yourself. Love the people who are going to influence your career more than you love yourself. Start stepping into their shoes. Start seeing things from their perspective. Have I sort of got, was it Jenny with the fluffy dog? Am I competing with her on that? Getting close. You just wait. Just you wait. I'll get there. I'll get the fluffy dog out of the way. Okay, so step into your customers' shoes. Step into the shoes of the people who are going to promote you. Step into the shoes of the people you want to influence and see it from their perspective. What do they need to hear in order to compel the action that you want them to take? Understand who it is you want to influence. It's not going to be one answer. That was a trick question. What do you want people to say about you? Because it depends who they're talking to. It depends who they're going to see. It depends who their circle is. If you understand who you need to influence and what they need to hear, you can then, as you've built relationships within your network, you can drip feed a better understanding of who you are and what you do for certain people. If you want to be seen as good as authentic, you know what the magic question I would follow that up with is? Why? And not why for you, but why for the person you want to hear that message. Why is that important to them? Why does that resonate? It's a brilliant question, why. You can just keep asking it like a 5-year-old. Why? 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 Until it becomes plain common sense. It's absolutely clear. So if you know who you want to influence and you know what's important to them, you can then help your network understand more about you in a different way. And you have so many opportunities within your network to educate your network about what you do and about what your strengths are that you miss every day. What question do you get asked every day? I've been asked about 3 or 4 times today already that you throw away. What question is it? How are you? How's work? How's business? And what do we say? Fine, good, okay. Kevin the teenager. Anyone remember Kevin the teenager? All right. But they're monosyllabic answers or 2 syllables at best. If someone says, how's work? Really great at the moment. I went to a conference all for women who wanted to become leaders in their business. It was so inspirational. You know, we're worried about shoving our agenda, what we do, down people's throats. Do you think that answer does that? 1 sentence? And there are 2 kinds of people who ask you that question, how are things? There are the people who care and the people who don't care. The people who don't care, they're really easy to spot because you know what they say when you tell them that? That's nice. That's your cue. You don't go any further. You don't elaborate because they're not interested. That's absolutely fine. But the people who care might say, oh, really? Tell me more about the conference, or I don't really understand what you do at the moment, or what type of role are you looking for? And they're inviting you to elaborate further. That doesn't mean you say, oh, I'm so glad you asked me that. I'm glad there's a spare seat here. Now, what time do you need to be out of here? 5 o'clock? But drip, 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 just educating your network, drip, 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 so they understand what you stand for, what you want to achieve, what you do, and who you want to influence. Networking isn't about events. Events help us meet people. Events help us develop deeper relationships with people. You know, this gives me a chance today to meet new people, but to catch up with people like Esther and Jenny and Vanessa and people that I see at a lot of events like this, deepening those relationships. But those relationships you build, those people come into your network. And when they come into your network, as you educate them about what you're looking to do and how they can help you, they can spread the message for you. They can get that message out there. But you have to be proactive. I win. You have to be proactive. You can't be lazy. You can't just sit back and wait for this to happen. It's up to you to go out there and meet new people and deepen relationships with those people and build trust with those people and help those people understand how they can help you as well as you helping them. I want to finish with my favorite quote because I think it's really important that when I come up here and talk about how your network can help you, that I put it into some context. Because Mel said when she introduced me that it can be a bit greasy at times. And a lot of people sort of feel it's a bit dirty because we're using people. But if you approach networking with the right mindset, with the right attitude of wanting to support your network and let them support you, it doesn't have to be. Elizabeth Asquith Babesco was the daughter of the former British Prime Minister, Lord Asquith. And Elizabeth Asquith Babesco was a poet. And one of the things she said was, blessed are they who give without remembering and receive without forgetting. Give without remembering, receive without forgetting. Networking doesn't have to be dirty, it doesn't have to be manipulative, but it does need to be focused on and strategic. And if you do that, it will help you boost your career and become the leaders that you deserve to be. Thank you very much.